Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
By the way, a couple of just quick stories. Everson Griffin traded by the Cowboys to the Lions for what appears to be maybe a fifth-round pick. Dez signs with the Ravens. And Arkansas A&M this year is in College Station. Next year they'll play that game, not in Arkansas, not in Fayetteville, but at AT&T Stadium, according to what Arkansas agreed in that 2-year change because of COVID. We're now joined by Baylor's Director of Athletics. Mack, would you do that if you had a situation this year that was a home and you would play at somebody else and then play neutral?
And I'm playing at their place?
Yeah, you're going to play the first of the 2 years at their place, and then you would agree to play the second year neutral?
That's probably not something, without knowing details, probably not something I would agree to. I would prefer that game come back to McLean Stadium.
I would think the second half of that pot would have to be sweetened a little bit. More than just that.
All right, so nothing like needing a win right now, huh? Need a win in football just to kind of like calm some things down?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, it's still early for us. We've only played the 3 games. Not making excuses because, the expectations don't change. And we talked about that the last show. We knew Saturday was going to be difficult, just, coming out of an outbreak and just having, a number of key people that just hadn't practiced a lot, and even a couple of them not even coming back until the day of the game. But I thought that we showed some good things, and now we got to get ready for a TCU team that is in a position. They need a win, we need a win, and add that on top of, the rivalry that already exists. And so it should be a really great game, should be really competitive. But I feel good where we are as a program. And again, it's just, it's time for, everybody to take a deep breath and perspective. And we got a lot of football ahead of us.
Mack, you obviously had the situation where you had a story about two of your players that, thought about opting out, and then they talked to the coaches and everything kind of got under wraps and worked out. But we've talked a lot about it, the mental health piece of all this and the strain that this has and how there's just kind of a tipping point. Do you see that kind of happening, after all this, that maybe – a lot of institutions are going to have to take a step back and see what the guys need off the field a little bit in the offseason to kind of get back to normal?
Yeah, everybody's dealing with it. And, it's a lot of the conversation amongst the athletic directors. I'm certain it's a lot of the conversation amongst the football coaches. I know, Coach Aranda and I talk about it all the time. It's just been, it's been really, really difficult. And quite frankly, just thinking about it in a positive way, I'm probably somewhat surprised that we haven't had players, student athletes opt out, especially when given just, all the ingredients, right? New head coach, right? Everybody sent home in March, April. Really difficult to form relationships because of that. No spring ball, right? And yet we haven't had anybody opt out. And so, that's kudos to Coach Aranda and how intentional he's been about, trying to develop and working hard at developing relationships and earning trust of our student athletes. As is the same with the staff. And, it's been really hard, and it's hard to say that over the radio, to folks, external to the program, to be able to demonstrate and show just how tough the season has been. Obviously the outbreak, but everything that goes with it, the constant testing, the uncertainty with the season, the the shutdowns. Even think about, the inability, post game to engage with family and friends. And so just all of that hasn't been easy. And, I think throw on top of that, you lose to a UT, a really good football team, but that game means a lot. And so frustration, and I think there's just this natural, frustration, by some of our student athletes, if not all of them, by, probably some of our coaches and maybe even the athletic director. So, but again, just, taking a deep breath. I'm glad it landed where it did with John and Tristan and they obviously are going through some difficult time and I'm glad that they were able to, be able to sit down with Coach Aranda and work through it and happy that they're still on the football team. They're really two quality young men.
Mack, I know that the situations aren't entirely similar, but I mean, Matt Rhule had to have some of these types of conversations early on as well, didn't he?
He did, and that initial year, and it's hard to think back, but that 2017 system, or 2017 season, there were some dismissals and there were some hard times, and again, I think that's part of the process. One of the things that Coach and I talked about today, earlier this morning, about just in a different way, and maybe a weird way. This is bringing the team closer together. I think the team yesterday had some good conversation about the two players, right? John and Tristan potentially are thinking about opting out, and so I think it has brought the group closer. And again, it's been like I said, it's been a struggle. It's been a fight. You feel like every day you're scratching, clawing, and just to keep your head above water. And I think our young men have done a really, really good job of it. And so has Coach Aranda and the staff.
Well, speaking of good jobs, on a positive note, one case reported yesterday in your latest testing results. Quite a departure from last week or a couple of weeks ago. I know you guys can't really let your guard down, but it had to feel good to get those results back versus the last couple of times you've gotten those results back.
No, it's been a relief, probably more than anything, right? And that one case is not even a case that's on campus right now, and I don't mind sharing, but the Sunday test, football specific, we didn't have any football student athlete or staff member test positive. I think we're now 8 straight tests with 0 positives within the football program, and just overall as an athletic department, we seem to be back in a good groove, a positive groove, or should maybe I say a negative groove in terms of the test results. Right. But it's good, and again, as you said, you can't let your guard down. That bus could be coming right around the corner, and so you got to continue to be careful and be diligent. So, but again, really great job, and credit to our health and wellness staff and our student athletes and our coaching staff.
Because there's always the day that Kenny Boyd walked in your office, and then there's yesterday. Is that like night and day, the difference in the emotions?
Yeah, I mean it is, and it's probably hard to understand. I mean, I don't think we're on the roller coaster of emotions, but it is different. I remember when we walked into my office on that Thursday late morning, early afternoon. Now I can't even remember, and told me about all of the positive tests and how that feels versus, coming in and saying, hey, guess what? Everybody was tested negative, after the Sunday test. It's a huge difference in terms of receiving that news and then how you have to deal with it, moving forward. So it's it has been, the last, and this is for everybody, everybody's had their own set of circumstances to deal with, but it has been interesting since about mid-March, and just all of the things that you encounter on a daily basis.
Mack, I know we had a little bit of this discussion when, you rapidly were able to schedule Houston, but I was thinking about it this week. Do you think that one of the things that'll come out of this is that it might be a little, it might take less time to schedule non-conference opponents because you guys have kind of broken through that glass ceiling of why it takes so long?
That's a really interesting question, Paul. And, I think it could potentially, that could happen. Sometimes there's just, some moving parts and, one institution has to move this game to another year to make this happen, et cetera. And so that's sometimes what takes so long for it to happen. But I think, when two schools have, common open years, open dates, I think certainly we've proven that it can be done, a lot quicker and more efficient. And so hopefully that's the case here in the future.
Anything else? Mack, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. You'll go ahead.
Yeah, Mack, just getting ready for a home game. I mean, I know we've talked.
Wait a minute, they play at home. They do.
Yeah, you guys were getting ready to play Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago, and we know how that turned out. But, just having to get ready for the process of hosting a game on Saturday again. What's that been like?
Yeah, one, it's been comforting, right? It's the routine, and even though it's different because of COVID, protocols, but it's at least the routine that we're used to, right? To prepare for a home game. And, my goodness, I don't know how the three of you feel about it, but it seems like forever since we had our last home game versus Kansas. I mean, that almost for me seems like it was, last season. And I think that just, is part of the frustration and adds to it. But, glad to be home, right, on Halloween, 2:30 p.m. kick, ESPN2, the Growloween game without the candy, unfortunately, because of COVID, but should be a special day. Always is when you play TCU, and we're recognizing Dutch Schrader, we wanted to do that versus the Oklahoma State game, but because of that cancellation, we're gonna honor Dutch and say goodbye and honor Doug Smith as he enters into retirement. And so should be a great day. And again, we're excited to have a home game in McLean.
Yeah, Doug Smith, that's awesome. I mean, that's a guy he loves. You cut him as green. I know he's not always been at Baylor. I'll never forget, one time I'm playing golf at the new court that they renovated Bear Ridge. I'm playing golf. He has a house, I guess it's on like number 8, a number 7 fairway, and he brought me inside and showed me all of his stuff, and he's just a great guy. Just such a nice guy. I'm glad you're doing that. That's awesome.
No, he absolutely is.
Thank you, Mack. Appreciate it. Mack Rhoades, Director of Athletics.
Gentlemen, thank you.
You too. Tuesdays with us at 4:20 on SicEm365 Radio almost every single week. Couple of quick notes, and then we take a break. Christy Scale.